Welcome to the Nicole Small Show, where we give you straight talk with no chaser. Here, we discuss issues from the White House to your house. And now, here's your host, Nicole Small.
Good morning and welcome to the Nicole Small Show. Today is Tuesday, March the 9th. We have the state of the city is happening today. So that's when we'll hear Mayor Mike Duggan speak to the issues that are plaguing the city of Detroit, supposedly. And then we'll also hear how he's going to manipulate the information and the actual facts from what's really going on and how he's supposedly going to solve the problems. But first, let me thank each and every one of you that came out yesterday, and even those of you who were there with us in spirit because you couldn't make it to the press conference for preserving our history. It was a phenomenal turnout. Some of the speakers who were there, wow, I even learned something about Black Bottom. And let me say this, yesterday in a news article, the Detroit News, they covered the actual event yesterday. And I find it amazing how Rochelle Riley, she just will stop at nothing to dismiss our concerns of saying that Mike Duggan should not be honored in any way as a saint of Black Bottom. There are some serious issues there. For her to take taxpayers' dollars to be paid a salary and to totally disregard our principles on preserving our history, I think is shameful and it needs to be addressed. One thing that stood out to me in this article was the fact that John Roach, who is the director of media services, was actually approached to respond to the concerns of the public. And John Roach said that, he will defer to Rochelle Riley to respond to this issue, seeing how she's the director of arts and cultural affairs. Well, you know what? Didn't I say this yesterday or last week? How Mike Duggan likes to pit Black women against each other and put Black women out here as his safety net and his protector. Well, that's exactly what's going on. But newsflash, Mike Duggan and John Roach, you picked the wrong Black woman, because nobody is here for Rochelle Riley and her exploitation of our Black history in the city of Detroit. She's not from here. Her responses are pathetic, to say the least. We would expect a lot more from her. A Black woman who's so-called educated and supposed to be a professional, who claims to be a person who not only knows Black history, but supports Black history in its true context, but yet she thinks that it's acceptable whether Mike Duggan or Joe Biden is made a saint of Black Bottom. And for that, we will not tolerate it. This is not over. And I'm going to tell you something, Detroit. These are the things that they do to see how much we will tolerate. And we should not tolerate this type of treatment. Ms. Riley went on to say, the city is not going to respond to false information being spread by anyone anywhere in Detroit. All I suggest is that people make sure the things that they're being told are true. And I hope everyone reads this book. So she's going to continue to promote this book. So let me be clear. We know that Mike Duggan is not in the book because the book is already written. We don't care whether or not the card that she's supposed to give to Mike Duggan as a saint of Black Bottom is actually put into the deck of cards to be sold or not. We are saying that in no way, shape, or form does this author have the right and the authority to dictate who's a saint of Black Bottom when we know that this person has not acted as a saint. And the things that he has done actually mimic the destruction and dismantling of Black Bottom. We're clear about that. And we're not going to waver on it. And so Miss Alice Randall, which we can't figure out, you say that you were raised in Black Bottom, then you say then we find out you were raised on the northwest side of Detroit. Then you say that you were kidnapped as a kid. Then you act like you were still here up into your preteen or young adult years. I don't know, you're all over the place. But however, we don't care. That's the point. We don't care. We're telling you that this is a travesty to the legacy of Black Bottom, and we will stand on that. But since Miss Riley wants to continue to insert herself and make herself the author and the dictator of all things Detroit in our history, we will too respond accordingly to you. So there needs to be a call of action for her to make a public apology, or she needs to be removed from that position, because she cannot represent our arts and our culture of the city of Detroit, because obviously she doesn't know too much about it. And that needs to be our next position. Also, Miss Randall, on any appearances that she makes promoting this book, there needs to be Detroiters who needs to be present, letting these people know that she's a fraud. She refuses to withdraw her honoring of Mike Duggan as a saint. This is a big deal. I want you to just remember, if this was the Jewish community, they would be all over it. But you want me to tell you what the difference would be? You would have people from all economic backgrounds who would be involved in this. For instance, you would have lawyers, you would have doctors, you would have just everyday working class people, you would have people of all age demographics who would be pushing back against this. And it should be the same way with us in Detroit. We had a great turnout yesterday, but some of you at home who want to just say, oh, this is crazy, I can't believe that Mike Duggan would do, we need you to pick up the phone and get involved. You need to contact Miss Riley. You need to contact that author, and you need to contact Mike Duggan's office. Matter of fact, just contact Miss Riley and contact Mike Duggan's office. And you need to tell him that he needs to decline the offer. And Miss Riley needs to go. If she's not going to apologize and she's going to continue to take this position and hold a position as the director of arts and culture, how dare you? How dare you? And this is a problem. And we allow people to take advantage not only of our tax dollars, but to manipulate and to railroad the sacrifices that our ancestors have made, that some of our elders who are still here have made. These are their experiences. How dare she? And then you sit here comfortable in this same city where some of these people are still living, and you think that that's okay? You tell us that at the bottom line is the author can do what she wants to do. Well, the bottom line is we can stand against whatever we're not going to tolerate. That's what you need to understand. This woman is a city appointee, people. Rochelle Riley is a city appointee, and she's not from here. And so she's going to double down. And now she's going to say that we're not telling the truth. We are telling the truth. We have the transcripts. The author said that she's going to make Mike Duggan a saint of Black Bottom. And it was made public. And she said that she's going to send this to the office of the mayor. That makes it public as well. So again, I don't know how y'all feel about this, but I'm telling you, this is where the rubber meets the road. And you should not just forget about it. Don't just comment. The calls need to be made. The calls need to be made. And they need to understand this is more than just a 5-minute or one-day news story. If not, then I guess you just want whatever type of treatment that they think that you deserve. And isn't that the problem? They think that you deserve far less than what you do. And this confirms it. Mike Duggan won't even say a word. This is an election year. We're not going to apply pressure to him about this. All he has to do is say no thank you. That's all he has to do. This is our history. This is our history. He's already taken over an election. And so now we're going to allow him to take our history. He's taken over this city. We're going to allow him to take over our history. And then we're going to allow a Black woman to come in here and think that, number one, she can try this game and say, oh, this is an attack on Black women. No, you're attacking Black women. You and the author. You're attacking all of the Black women who stand in opposition. You're attacking all of the Black women who were a part of Black Bottom, who are not been honored. That's an attack on Black women. So this is not the game that we're going to play. You won't deflect and turn this whole situation around. We are clear. This is about preserving our history and the legacy of Black bottom. And you should be passionate about this, Detroit. They're trying to take everything away from you, everything that they can, even your history and the memories and your experiences. How somebody so bold that they're going to come and take your experiences away from you? That's a lot of nerve. So you think about that. You can just sit back and just say, oh, this is messed up and talk about it. Or you could do something about it. But I'm telling you, no other community tolerates this type of behavior. This is important. Why is it that our legacy and our experiences and the things that we have even built, the tangible things, always have to be compromised by somebody else? And we just get mad about it for a few minutes. This will send a clear message that the line has been drawn. For once, my people, can we do that? Can we do that? If we can't even get for an appointee of the mayor to back down and for the mayor to decline an offer, nothing monetary goes along with it. Oh, and by the way, I want to clear something up. According to Miss Riley, Mike Duggan has helped her sell books. How? When he hasn't even had the book signing that he said he was going to have to her after the pandemic. So that's a lie. So let's talk about who's not telling the truth, Miss Riley. Let's talk about that. I can't say it enough. I just can't say it enough. You should not allow this to just go by the wayside. I am telling you, there needs to be some calls made and pressure needs to be applied. The mayor needs to decline the offer, and Miss Riley, either she needs to apologize or she needs to go. This is not the position for her. If this is what she's going to do in that position, when we talk about the culture of the city of Detroit, this is how you want to represent it? You want to dismantle our culture? You want to misrepresent our culture? Black bottom is a part of our culture in the city of Detroit. Again, I don't know what they do in Cincinnati, North Carolina, wherever you from, but this here is Detroit. And when in Rome, you should do what the Romans do, and you should govern yourself accordingly. And we're saying that we're not tolerant of it. Period. Today, state of the city. This is what I think is going to happen. And you guys can weigh in on a comment section or feel free to call in at 313-451-2228, 313-451-2228. So we know the vaccine is going to be a big issue. And I wanted to talk to you about that. Remember when we were talking about how there were so many people who were coming from outside the city to get the vaccine, and then all of a sudden the mayor put out a statement that people who don't live in the city, if you drive someone from Detroit to get a vaccine, then you too could get a vaccine. Well, newsflash, that's not happening. You have several people who are not Detroiters, 2, 3, 4 deep in the cars. You can go drive right down there at Cobo Hall, go over there closer to the side, closer to the water. That's where they're actually giving the shots where you pull up to. So they're still not bringing Detroiters, and there's still a majority of them who are getting the shot. So let's talk about the numbers, and I want you to pay close attention to the stats that are probably going to be given out today about the vaccine. I know that there was one statement saying something about, you know, we've administered over 100,000 shots at the TCF. Okay, that's true. But with the Moderna shot, which is given out, you get 2 shots, right? So 2 shots to every person. So technically, that's only 50,000 people and not 100,000 people. Isn't that the way it will work? Because if each person gets 2 shots and there were 100,000 shots, that's only 50,000 people who actually received the shot. So just pay attention to that part. 2, where's the information that we should have now about the number of Detroiters who have received the shot? And I think that that's important. I don't know if we'll hear that today, but we should if he's going to talk about the vaccine and we're talking about the state of the city. But I guess in reality, too, the state of the city is largely beneficial to people who don't live in the city. So there's some truth there to what the mayor is probably going to say. Um, I wonder if he'll address the J&J shot. There are several people who feel as if he took away the right for Detroiters to be able to choose which shot that they would want. And I feel you on that. Just listening to the research, and some of the people who push back against it are saying that the Moderna shot is the best shot. Um, I'm not a medical professional or anything. This is just what I hear. But I think that there is some validity to what some of you are saying, is that, I want to have the option. Who are you to remove that option from me? But you have to remember this. Pharmaceutical sales is one of the largest industries that we have. So you make a lot of money off of that. I don't know what the relationship is with the city and the mayor, but they bring in a lot of money when you allow them to administer these shots. And think about it. They pay doctors. They give them, so let's just say it's a new medicine that comes out, not anything like this. But when they go to the doctor's offices, they give them a lot of these medicines for free, like on a trial period. There's a lot of money associated with this. We don't know if the mayor is getting any money for his campaign. That's something that needs to be looked into as well from this Moderna company. The problem that I have with the decision for the J&J shot, for him to decline the offer, hear that, decline the offer. He was able to decline the offer for the shot, but not for being honored as a saint of Black Bottom, no matter how we feel about it. But anyway, when he declined the offer, I just didn't hear any substantive reason as to why he declined the offer to have the J&J shot here. That's the part that concerns me. And so will he address that today? Because we have heard from the president's office about, he just made a mistake. Then you hear from some city council people who are saying that he misspoke, or, making up all of these excuses. But what will we hear from the mayor today regarding his reason for not taking the J&J shot and allowing Detroiters to have the option? Also, he needs to address the issue. If you don't have a lot of Detroiters coming to take advantage of this vaccine, that needs to be addressed. Using the numbers for people from the suburbs who are coming to take this shot, that should not be a part of your talking points today, Duggan. This is about the state of the city, not the state of the suburbs. So keep that part in mind. Also, I can't wait to hear how he's going to reframe what happened with the CARES Act money. I'm really interested to hear about that. How is he going to reframe what actually happened with the CARES Act money? Because to this day, we don't know what happened with the CARES Act money. So is he going to say, we had $100 million to come into the city and we were able to help X number of people? We'll prove it. Those are the things I want to hear. So then we could do some follow-up and ask, like, well, where's the proof? Where are the checks and balances around all of these people that you so-called help with this money? And keep in mind, we didn't spend all of that money, of the CARES Act money. Remember, they had money left over. That's when Conrad Mallett had to go before City Council and address how they still had CARES Act money left over. Why is that? Because we didn't have access to it. So I want to hear about that. Development in this city. I'm quite sure we're going to see a lot of snapshots of Black people working in construction. We're going to see a lot of that. He's going to be very proud about kicking off the demolition for this year with the 7 contractors, of which never should have been approved by City Council. But, we got the sabotage and 6 days, so pathetic. And we'll see a lot of that. We'll see a lot of nice glossy pictures posted up about how great development in the city is going. Well, it is great for a lot of people, just not a lot of Detroiters. So when we talk about the state of the city, really pay attention to the statements that are being made by the mayor. And then I want you to digest it and then figure out, well, is this really for me as a Detroiter, or is this actually a benefit for someone else? And that's what you need to pay attention to. So we'll have that. Jobs are always going to be a big issue. I dare him to talk about the Charter Commission. I just dare him to talk about the Charter Commission. And then it was something else that I had. Housing. I want to hear about the housing developments, how they're going in the city. Also, this budget. The mayor just had his budget hearing. I can't even express to you, like, this is like comedy hour, right? When you go through this budget, this is literally comedy hour. If you think that we're going to believe that you need all of this money, and police is getting a lot more money. I got a couple of questions about their budget as well. But the unmitigated gall that Mayor Duggan has after, let's just talk about his pattern of behavior. So after you commit the act of bid rigging, and you turn around and you manipulate 70% of the voters into believing that supporting a $250 million bond, of which we're going to have to pay back almost $500 million, is in the best interest of the people, because this is the only way that we can get Black contractors. Like, literally, that's what was told to us. So just keep this in mind. So you tell us that, then you turn around, and Detroit-based businesses, don't forget that. Then you give the first round of contracts go to Detroit-based businesses, so-called, that either just became a Detroit-based business December the 30th of 2020, and automatically in January they're at the top of the list. Then you have other contractors who they don't have a yard here, or they haven't had a license in decades, and these are the first round of picks, right? And so then when you get the pressure on you, you consolidate all of these contractors. So then it can look like, oh, everybody's a Detroit-based business. It's just comedy hour. But he's going to be able to justify how he should get more money. The same man who took federal dollars that was allocated to help people save their homes, and he mismanaged it and gave it away to 78% of that money to suburban contractors who did a shabby job. Keep in mind, this is the same man, and now $17 million of this proposal in money is not accounted for. This is the man who we should give more money to in his budget request. I'm just trying to make sense of it. Why do we keep rewarding people for bad behavior is what I don't understand. The same man who will not address Detroiters being overtaxed for their homes, right? You won't address that at all, which puts a lot of homeowners in a debacle from whether or not they can still stay in their home. Oh, and by the way, Rochelle Riley said that Detroiters, Mike Duggan was not a part of the overtaxing of over $600 million. I'm telling you something about her. Y'all better get on that phone and do something. Now she gonna tell us that we weren't overtaxed when Mike Duggan was in office. Now you know that's a lie from the pit. But she thinks that she can do that because she's appointed by Mike Duggan. Keep letting her. Keep letting her. Anyway, this is the same man who has enough nerve. He has the unmitigated gall to come before council and to present a budget as if, you know what, I know we're facing some challenges, and you know what, we don't want to go into bankruptcy and have a shortfall, but you asking for more money so you can mismanage. Ask yourself something. Why doesn't his staff take a hit? If we could be nearing a shortfall of the budget, do you ever ask yourself that? Why doesn't the mayor's staff take a hit? He got 3 district managers in every district. Do you need that? What are they doing during a pandemic? What are 3 district managers doing during a pandemic? What are this huge neighborhood staff doing during a pandemic? You brought demolition over here. Now it's back to being a city department. And the director of demolition doesn't even know what happened to the $17 million. And so then you have, what are all of these people doing? And then we still have people at the land bank. I thought the point of bringing demolition over here was to dissolve some of those people from the land bank, but then you just brought them over here under the city. I said, this is the type of shell game, 3-card Monte game tricks that he's playing with departments and with city tax dollars. But you need more money. But he needs more money. And we have a legislative branch that continues to reward him for his bad behavior. There lies the problem. You don't even have no one asked him, well, you know what, Mr. Mayor, before we can even consider the additional funding that you're asking for in this new budget, we need to see a detailed line item report of how you spent that CARES Act money. You know what, Mr. Mayor? We need to see a detailed line item budget analysis and report of how you spent that $80 million in neighborhood improvement bonds that you cashed in right before people voted for Proposal N. Remember that? Before he asked you to borrow another $250 million, with which you had to pay back almost $500 million, the city sold another $80 million in what? Neighborhood improvement bonds. Nobody even asked him to produce the receipts. This is the only city that I know. We keep buying stuff and spending money and we never get a receipt for where our dollars have went. No one even asked him that. They just let him do a presentation and they just applaud him. Here lies the problem. Let's take a caller. Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show.
Good morning. How you doing, Nicole?
Oh, good morning. How are you, Kenny?
I'm doing fine, girl. Look here. You hit the nail on the head with all that. And I hope these people let me take it off speaker. I was cooking.
Okay.
Hit the nail on the head with all this, what you're saying. And I hope these people understand, that what you're saying, they need to react on. This Rochelle Riley is selling us out. We got Devin is not doing anything. We got demolition, not demolition, but we got contractors over here where we at. They screwed us on that. These people got to realize what's wrong with our people. Why they don't want to wake up and smell the coffee when it's perfect? I mean, you letting them know. I can understand if they say, well, we don't know. You do know. It's folk like yourself that letting us know a lot of stuff that's going on, and people just turn their head to the side. Is it because they getting paid or just want to go along to get along? Our black people is something else. What happened to the backbone like we had the show the other day?
That's right.
The backbone is. People is just study letting them ride their backs. And we don't care. Oh, it's okay because we done overtaxed it. It's okay because you shutting the water off. It's okay, that you taking our money and giving it to a billionaire. It's okay. I don't understand our people. And it's sad that it's like that.
It is.
It used to be a time when people would come up, get out, and fight. What happened to the fight and the people in the city of Detroit? We used to be strong. Don't go to Detroit. They don't mess around. Now it's like whatever. You let this man from Livonia come here and take over and do what he wants, and tell us out all kind of ways. And we get mad at each other, but we won't get mad at the right person.
And you know what, Kenny? And all we talking about is this. Make a phone call. Make a phone call to Rochelle Riley and demand that either she leave or she make a public apology. Make a phone call to the mayor's office. Like you sitting there, you have 5 minutes of time. Make a phone call to the mayor's office and tell him that he better withdraw his decline the offer to accept being named a saint of Black Bottom. I don't get it. I don't get why it's things like this and you see somebody. It's clear that what they're doing to you is telling you that you know what, I'm gonna dog walk you. That's what they letting you know, and it's nothing that you gonna do about it. They're telling you to your face.
That's right. You know, again with that. And yesterday was, I'm glad folks came out and showed us we could have had more.
Yeah.
We had a lot, and I would appreciate that, you know, and we wanted to get the point across to the city of Detroit that look at how they treating you. Look at the way you get treated. And y'all don't want to get off their butt and vote this man out of office. This man's got to go. This man ain't doing no good to us and our community and to the people on the low end. It's like the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. That's how they look at. That's how they treat them.
But you know what else, Kenny? Even those people who support the mayor, I don't understand how you don't stand with us on this, though. See, that's the problem that I have with it. Even if you support the mayor, you gonna tell me that you can't stand with us to preserve our history, not to let somebody commit. This is a travesty to the legacy of Black Bottom, and I keep saying that. And once you let it happen, you can't get it back. You can't get it back. You mean to tell me that we can't stop an appointed director of culture and arts who not even from here from thinking that she gonna dictate to us and try to run game on the people of the city of Detroit? Because that's what she's doing. Oh, they not telling the truth. Oh, we are telling the truth. And gonna tell us that at the end, the bottom line is that the author can do what she want to do. No, correction. The bottom line is that we are Detroiters and we get to demand what we will and won't accept. That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line, and we gonna let them have it, and all of us not gonna sit quiet and without sitting on our hands and stuff, and keeping our lips zipped, not saying a word. The way they treating us, they taking our history away from us. We would never get taught our history in school. To me,
and we're all of these so-called historians who always wanted to write about Black Bottom and saying they know this, that, and the other about the city of Detroit. Where are you? You're not gonna say anything about this? Oh, this is too radical for you. See, I'm about sick of that too. I am so sick. This is exactly why this city in the state that it's in. And only one council person came out yesterday. Mary Sheffield did send her representative, and he said that Mary said she is not in support of honoring Mike Duggan as the saint of Black Bottom. Only one. Thank you, Kenny.
And thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to listen.
All right.
People wake up.
I hope they do too. I hope they do too. And I hope you pay attention to what's going to be said today at this state of the city. Start making a mental note. If you really listen carefully, start making a mental note of the information that is manipulated because he undermines your intelligence. Make a mental note of the lies that you are being told, because you need to call him out on that. Make a mental note. Once we start breaking down this budget, which we're going to start next week, once we start breaking down this budget, then you need to start challenging the city council to stop them from supporting some of this. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to take more than 100 of us. And we're going to have to be diligent. We have to be diligent and steadfast in our efforts. This just can't be, oh, that's some bull. We know it is. It's been bull. Just to let you know, that's what it's been the whole time. But let's come to the table with some clear demands. But I do want you to listen today. I want you to listen. I want to see if he's going to address water, right? I want to see if that's going to be addressed. He's probably going to pat himself on the back, you know, that they're not shutting off anyone else's water. Yeah, but you didn't shut on everybody's water. So that's a whole nother situation. And like I said, housing is a very big deal. Let me say this to you. For those of you who live on the east side, what is that monstrosity of an apartment building that you have, right? What is that, Van Dyke and Kercheval? What the heck going on over there? I mean, the apartment building is so huge and dominating that entire. Who thought of that? How much are those gonna cost? Because I don't think the people in the surrounded, well, I don't know, because West Village, it's gentrified over there. They paying all kind of money for houses that's barely put together. They don't care. But have you guys seen that? I mean, that apartment building is huge. But I always say, like, District 5 was the first place they really started gentrification, of course, because that includes a lot of the downtown area. And then you're seeing a lot of development in District 4 too. But that corridor right there and that huge apartment building, that looks crazy. Number one, it looks like something that should sit further back off the street. I mean, you're literally up on the corner of the intersection. They just building anything around here. And here's the thing, it's unaffordable. It's unaffordable for the majority of Detroiters. So they put you out, right, from where you were living that was affordable. And then they create all of this unaffordable housing. Like, is anybody going to address that issue? Probably not. Not tonight. You'll be told that, we're building this development here, and then they're going to name a nonprofit organization, a community organization that supported them on that, because they always can find one, right? It's always 1, 2, 5, 10 of us who can't wait to be just raising our hand, chomping at the bit to say, yes, Mr. Mayor, you're so great, when you're really not. But pay attention to that. Pay attention to what he says about the state fairgrounds deal. They got busy on that pretty quickly, didn't they? Pretty quickly. What's another large development? We have the Myers, the Rivertown store that's coming down on Jefferson. That's supposed to be coming up. But pay attention to those things. We're going to talk about it, of course, next week, like what you really got out of that as we start to break down the budget. It's a part of me, before we go to break, I want to say this. A part of me feels like the mayor knows that he's in a vulnerable space this year, but I also pulled the petitions yesterday, and now we have 24 people running for mayor. 24. So I'm quite sure all of them won't make the ballot, right? But even if we get 5 or 6, that's a lot. And that only helps them out. So everybody has a right to run, but boy, we have 24 people who pulled petitions for mayor. That's a lot of people. A lot of people. And they could get their signatures, like the weather is breaking. It was a beautiful day yesterday. It's supposed to be another nice day today. We're supposed to get some nice days coming up. So people can easily get their signatures, right? But what would it look like if we had 15 people on the ballot running for mayor? Oh my goodness. Like that would just be insane. Right? That would be absolutely insane. It would definitely benefit the current incumbent if we had that many people. And some of these people, like, I wonder, have they tried to talk a lot of these people I don't even know, like, I've never heard of. That doesn't mean that they don't live here. I'm just saying I can't speak to you about their background or anything, because I really don't. I've never heard of them. And so I don't know. They're still pulling petitions. Like, we have 24 already that have pulled petitions. And there are some people who have petitions that are not even on the list. So we really have more than 24 people who are seeking the office of mayor. That'll be interesting. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come right back. And we're going to be joined by Miss Henrietta Ivy when we come back from break.
Tune in to the Nicole Small Show, Mondays and Tuesdays from 8 to 10 a.m., where you'll get straight talk with no chaser. If you miss a show, then you won't know. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook.
Welcome back to the Nicole Small Show. Today we have our guest on the line, Miss Henrietta Ivy. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Nicole?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, because I know my system
Thank
is
you
acting a
so
little
much for joining
crazy.
us today.
Yeah, it's been acting a little crazy, so I wanted to make sure you can hear me and that everybody else can hear me. My internet is acting a little fishy this morning. I don't know why, but I'm glad you can hear me. Good morning.
Someone else the other day was telling me their Comcast went out, and then later on that same day, I was hearing about AT&T. I don't know what's going on. They know we need our internet, especially during the pandemic. We need it to work right.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Thank you.
listen, Miss Ivy, I wanted to bring you on today. I know yesterday was International Women's Day, but you are someone that we work together, before organizing, grassroots organizing in the community. We work together on some issues. I've also watched you be a leader in the community, but more importantly, I just really admire how even on Facebook and even publicly, when you encounter you are so loving to others, but how you love yourself. And I know that everything in life cannot always be great and rosy, but you are just one of those persons, like, you always giving off positive energy, right? But you don't do it in a way where you act as if you're not cognizant of what's really going on. You still will fight the issues. You know what I mean? Sometimes you see someone who's so positive, they act as if nothing is wrong, and that's not you. And I admire that about you. I admire how you keep the same energy all the time. So I wanted to highlight you. I know that you've worked with SEIU, you've worked with For Our Future, you've worked on several campaigns helping people, including myself. You were one of the people who helped me to get on the ballot and to win the election for the Charter Commission. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. Uh-oh, did we lose you?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So talk to us a little bit about some of the work that you've done. Like, how did you get into grassroots organizing? You know, it's breaking up, Henrietta. Oh, did we lose her? Hold on. Okay, there you are. Can you hear us?
Nicole's system is acting really crazy. Can you hear me?
Just call me. Why don't you call me?
Okay, I'm gonna reconnect. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and reconnect.
Okay, hon.
All right. Let me tell you a little bit why I wanted to bring Henrietta on. She has done a lot of work where I think that for those of us who are in or a lot more active in grassroots, in politics, because she's done a lot of GOTV work. She has helped to push policies, definitely fighting with D15 and to get $15 an hour for a minimum wage. Henrietta has done a lot of that work, and she has worked in various capacities. And so sometimes you have some people who do this work who are more popular in the community versus others. And don't get me wrong, there are some people who know about Henrietta, but I feel like the work that she does, she's always so consistent. She's always working behind the scenes. And I wanted to make sure that we highlight someone like her and also hear about the work that she has coming up. And the work that she's doing right now. This is an election year. Hold on, I see that she's trying to get back on.
Hello.
All right.
Here we are.
Okay.
Okay. I just have to come off my my laptop. It's acting crazy, so I'm doing it by the phone. I do apologize for that, but I'm back.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Listen, we have time. So talk to us about how did you get into grassroots organizing, and then let's talk about how you got so involved in politics.
Well, let me first say thank you for allowing me to sit in with you this morning. And I want to pay homage to you, Nicole, because I've been watching you as well. And I've seen you move around our great city of Detroit. You've always kept it honest. You've always kept it professional. You say what you mean what you say, and you do it with such grace and straight leadership. So I want to say thank you, and leading the people in the city of Detroit and putting yourself out there in such an amazing way that you give me leadership goals. Let me be clear. Everybody that I surround myself with, I learn from as well as I, I teach and learn at the same time. So that's what makes it very unique about being a leader. So I want to say thank you and continue to do the amazing work that you're doing. Trust me, people are watching, and you are leading in a positive direction, and your leadership is very golden. So thank you. My leadership skills, me starting out as a home care provider. I watched my grandmother go from this amazing woman of just grace and beauty, and led our family in such a way that you would dare to disrespect her no matter where she went. I remember days of watching how people would just surround themselves around her love, and how she just exuded that power of love, respect, and leadership. And she was just a 4'11" woman. She worked as a domestic house giver. And she was just such an amazing person. So I learned all that from her, just watching her naturally lead without, anything asked in after fact. And so I took care of her as she got ill. Very hard thing to watch and do, to see her get sick, pretty much fall from grace. So I had to have, being part of that caregiving position. And as I watched her go through what she went through and how she was treated by the medical professional based upon her insurance card, I believe that was where it set tone for me to jump into leadership for home caregivers. So I started there, and SCIU got a hold of me. And when I tell you, a lot of the stuff I know now and the leadership roles that I hold now, it comes from that strong training from SCIU. Okay. Now it's in me to be a leader, but you have to be a great leader. You have to have people involved in you to nurture what you already naturally have.
To invest in you. Yeah,
exactly. And they invested greatly in me. So I, working with them, them believing in the fact that what I wanted to do with home care workers, and allowing me to lead it. And even up to this very moment, we're talking about 10, 12 years in. So I got, that's where my leadership started. But I've always been a voice to people. I've always knew what to say to the establishment on behalf of people. Now, my goal was not to start out to do that. It's just the right thing to do. And so that was just something natural in me. Just naturally didn't want to see people suffer. Didn't naturally want to see people being mistreated, and and naturally wanted to see justices in our city, this great city of Detroit. I came up in the Coleman Young era. So I saw how great this city was. I grew up running down alleys and going in neighborhoods where everybody knew everybody, and neighborhoods were thriving, and the community was a village. So I saw that, and when I saw the dismantle of that starting to happen, it really sparked more in me. Like I just don't sit well with me, and so I just it was constantly that feeling of something has to be done. I got to do something, and people thought I was crazy. Like you can't be taking on this weight. And I'm like, no, I got to do it. I got to do it. Somebody got to say something. So I've always been a person who said something. And thanks to all these amazing organizations that brought me on board, trained me up in a way to go, and allowed me to express my true feelings of wanting to make sure everybody and everything was going right, particularly in the city of Detroit. So I'm proud to be one of the amazing women amongst yourself and a whole lot of other amazing women and men who is trying to get this city back on its feet and lead it in a direction where our children, their children, our grandchildren, nieces, nephews, mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts can live in a city that I once remembered as a great city. So those organizations helped build that up in me. They gave me the platform, and once they gave me the platform, it was done. It was over. It was over. I was like, oh yeah, it's on now, baby. So to say the least, you said something earlier, it's not always easy.
Yes.
I find myself sometimes questioning, should I continue? Will it even work? Would the efforts mean anything? Because the environment we're living in now, we have a lot of people who are uneducated to how the political system works in everything that you do. My saying is to people all the time, politics rules your life. It determines how you eat, sleep, go to school, go to work, and literally how you raise your family, because there are people in position that can destroy those very things if we're not careful. And so my fight is always to make sure that if I'm going to lead, I'm going to teach you how to lead. To be a leader doesn't always mean to have your names in light and people giving you accolades and calling you a leader. If that was the case, then we got a whole lot of unfit leaders out here, right? To be a leader, that means you have to work, you have to dedicate, you have to, sometimes I use the word suffer. And when I say suffer, you have to put yourself in front of the bullet to protect what you know you need to protect. So I just find that for me, I work hard for a reason. I tried to get away from all of this, but God kept putting me back, and I'm serious about that. I have tried to walk away and say, you know what, this is not for me. I am not going to take on this burden. I got too much other things.
You always see the outcome, like the fruits of your labor, right? Like that's the frustrating part. And I want you to talk about, you know, like Henrietta person, like you're a mother, you're a grandmother, like there are so many other different ways you could be spending your time, right? And you're still pouring into trying to make your community a better place for the people in your community and not just yourself. And that takes a lot of sacrifice.
It does. You know, being a mother of 4 amazing, and I say amazing, grown, adult, millennial children, they keep me on my toes. They won't let me grow old. They just won't. I am a mother. I have amazing grandchildren. I have 8. And then we're about to welcome twins into the family. So it's
congratulations.
Thank you. There's so much time I want to spend with them, but I have to really be honest with myself. When I look at my beautiful family, those children that I raised to be these productive adults, that took work, effort, and love. And I'm not going to let anything destroy that. So when I think about my leadership, I think about, I do this for them. Yes, I want to enjoy those fruits too, but I want to make sure that that people like you, me, and all these other people, we're setting the foundation for this future. My children and grandchildren mean the world to me. If nothing else means the world to me, they do. And if anybody know me, they know I will kill a brick and drown some water over my children and grandchildren. You know, you can't mess with Henrietta's kids. People tell you one thing about it, do not mess with their kids. So they are my motivation. They are my drive to making things better. And on top of engaging the community. But yes, I would like to spend a lot of time with my children. I even told my daughter the other day, and she said, you know, she asked me, well, Mama, you know, I'm going to need you, this, and I said, but baby, I'm going to try to be there as much as I can for you, because I know how my life is. And there's a lot of things I can be doing outside of trying to bring injustices to justice. But I love it. I love it. I love being able to be the voice for those who are voiceless. I love doing that.
You do such a great job of it. You really do. Let's take one caller, Henrietta. Good morning. Okay. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show.
Good morning.
Hey, Elena.
Good morning, Elena.
How are you?
Doing well. You got a question or comment?
Good. I do. I have a comment about a development issue that's going on. And today at City Council, there's going to be a developer coming before the zoning asking to demolish 4 occupied homes in 23rd Street. 4 occupied homes.
4?
This is 4 where people live and pay taxes in order to knock down these houses and build an apartment. And if you walk through Detroit, like I do, you know, I do long walks. There are blocks and blocks of vacant land. And Corktown is expanding so that there's so much development going on right on top of each other. And And we talked about these tax captures before. So if you knock down the occupied dwellings where there's taxpayers and there's taxes being paid, and create something where the developers capture the taxes, we're not only displacing people that were in good homes, perfectly fine homes, and replacing them with the people Duggan really wants to live here.
So
this is a big deal. It's going on today at the zoning board.
what time is that, Elena?
It's at 10 o'clock, I believe. I don't have the Zoom link for it.
It should be on the city's website.
One of the people.
Yeah, it should be on the city's web. The Zoom link should be on the city's website. So I'll take a look at that. So that's as soon as this show is over, they're going to begin that meeting. I want to make sure we understand you correctly. You're saying that this developer wants to tear down 4 occupied homes on 23rd Street so he can develop apartments.
Oh.
So is he trying to buy them out? What I don't, or he just.
I don't know. I'm sure that it would. They are not. They don't want to move. And
oh well, then that's it. Then they don't want to move.
Mm-hmm. This is the thing that I want to tell you though. If you go west of the boulevard,
mm-hmm.
because inside the boulevard is that little area that Duggan really wants to reserve for his special people.
Yeah.
But if you go west of the boulevard, outside of that loop, there's blocks and blocks of vacant land, especially when you get closer to Springwell. Because if you go down Berner around Central, there's no sign of gentrification over there. There's no sign of it. There's vacant storefronts. There's all kinds of poverty, terrible poverty.
So
and no help coming to the people over there.
Elena, do you know if anyone has gone over there to talk to those homeowners?
My friend Roger Foss has sent out the notice asking for people to get on there. So I just found out about it yesterday.
No, we're gonna have to go and talk.
With the library, it's right around the block from the Bowen Branch Library that has been badgering them to reopen.
No, we need to have somebody like go knock on their door, and we need to talk to them personally. You know what I mean? So
today's meeting, I will do that.
Yeah, let's do that. Because we need to start getting testimonies from these people. I trust what you're saying that they don't want to move. But it just helps us to be able to fight against these types of issues when we actually hear from them and we have testimonies. I'm still going to get on a call today because I want to hear some more about this. And thank you so much for bringing attention to it. But I want us to start engaging these people who are impacted by these types of decisions, right? Like what's going on in the Martin Luther King homes. We also need to follow up with that and find out, like, well, have they sent you out any more notices or anything like that? Thank you, Elena. I'm going to catch up with you later after the meeting too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. See, Henrietta, it's always something, you know, in this city. And then, you know, I look at someone like you say, you're a mother of 4, you have grandchildren. That's probably the circumstances of some of those people who are living in these 4 homes. And now you have somebody, first of all, as if we don't have enough apartments in this city. Let's start off with that. They can't even occupy all of the apartments and the developments, whether they renovated or built it from the ground up. A lot of those places are Airbnbs because they can't occupy them. No one can afford them. You know what I mean? And the majority of the people who are buying into this aren't even from here. So now here it is. You want to displace somebody, and we don't need a city. This is not New York. We don't want a city full of apartments.
That's right.
That is not the culture and the fabric of the city of Detroit. We have a lot of homes here and we want to keep it that way. And this is what I'm talking about. None of this is by design, how they want to redesign our city.
That's right. You know, Nicole, they have been planning this 30 years prior. This has been been a plot to regain Detroit. Because when Detroit first started out, from my understanding and from what, family members and elders were telling me, Detroit was a city. It was pretty much a predominantly white Jewish city. Yeah. And a lot of the properties were owned by wealthy Jewish people. And it wasn't as broad as it is now. It was a lot of country land, a lot of, housing spaces. You had a lot of, it was more almost like, I wouldn't say rural, but really kind of like almost like a suburb.
Yeah, so it definitely wasn't as dense as it is now. You know
exactly.
What I mean? So, yeah.
Exactly. So you have to understand that when our grandmothers and grandfathers, uncles and aunts started coming in, migrating from the South, and they wanted to find a place to live, and as they started migrating to the city of Detroit, and everybody started moving, back toward a more rural farm area. Their plan was always to get their city back, and they have been planning this for a long time. Unfortunately, they have been able to make good on that plan because of the leadership. It goes to the saying of the leadership we have in office today, from the mayor, from his appointees, state, federal, all of it they're all involved in this. What we're doing is trying to make the citizens in our communities, Black communities in this city, understand is this: if we don't watch our backs, if we don't pay attention, if we don't learn to listen and take heed to what is being said, even if it's just 10 of us, that 10 is strong.
Yes.
The information
and we move in the same direction. We're strong.
We're strong, and we're going in the same direction. Information that you give, I give, all these other activists and leaders give. When it comes to the people of this city, we're telling you something. We're not doing all this screaming and shouting for our help. Trust me, you can find a whole lot of stuff to do. We're both educated women. We could go in a whole different direction if that's what we chose to do. We are sacrificing our own selves for the betterment of the city because we live here. We want to see this city, thrive for all of us. We're not saying that if other people want to move here that we don't welcome you. What we're saying, you're not going to come here and take over though. You're not going to come here and tell us that, you're the past and we're the future. You're not going to do that here in the city of Detroit. So when I think about my children and my grandchildren, my nieces, my nephews, my community, I think about those people who, well, eventually, if we don't play these cards right as leaders and we don't get this information out to the community, we won't have a Black community in Detroit anymore. We won't. Our children and grandchildren will be scattered. To take all this history, this rich history, again, Black bottom, all this stuff that we have already created a historic story for our children and grandchildren, right? I don't know if I said that right, but the history of it. Yeah. The people who worked and did all this work to preserve something for generations to come is trying to be wiped away. I'm like you. I just can't have that. Yeah. Being a leader and speaking up on truth is hard. And also unsafe. But guess what? That's what you do when you lead. However, when I think about the young people now and how zealous they are, and they have the fire to want to lead, but they don't have the zealous to listen, that bothers me. So I tell my young people, I love my millennials. I tell them all the time, you guys got it. You know what you want. That's a start. You know what you want.
It is.
And you're zealous
too.
And they are ready. But here's the problem. You don't want to listen. You already know. You don't know. No, you don't know. Because what's going to happen, you're going to find those who are watching how zealous and how eager you are. They're going to use that against you. They're going to give you a title. They're going to give you some trinkets, and you're going to forget about why you really started. So the me's, the you's, and the Joannes, all these other leaders, we have to constantly remind our upcoming leaders. It's cool what you're doing, but listen to what's going on. Take heed from the people who's trying to teach you. The village is trying to bring you up in a way we know that when you go in that direction, you're going in that direction for all of us. So in leadership, and that's when I created DOVE, Detroit Outreach on Voting Education. I was going to ask you
about that next. Talk about that.
So that's a passion for me. I tell you, when I was a canvasser, and that was one of the first things that really, another thing that sparked this fire. Talking to people in the community was the best ever.
I love it too. I still love canvassing.
I love it. Oh my God. Look, when I was out there yesterday, I'm like, man, this is the bomb. I can't wait to get out there again today. Yeah. I started talking to, as you canvass, when you're out canvassing, a lot of times we do it because, hey, it's something to do. We dropping lid and, we're making a little bit of money. But for me, it was something different. To write down people's names, to hear their stories, to engage them. I'm like, wow, it's a lot in this city that people have issues with. So Detroit Outreach on Voting Education and Engagement was created to engage and educate the community on their vote. I get it that, the basics is, you vote, you have your ballot, you choose your candidate. That's your basics. But what I wanted people to understand is the power in a vote, the power in that Black vote. It is the leading vote all over this world. And what we don't understand is how powerful that vote is. And what we saw in our past election was how powerful that vote is. So I created that department so I could continue to engage and educate not only the community, but people who want to lead the community in the voting process.
Stands for. Tell us what Dove stands for.
Detroit Outreach on Voting Education and Engagement.
All right.
And so that was one of my questions. Thank you. And I did, I'm because of COVID, I was, I had everything set up to get out and do the trainings, but COVID, of course, shut a lot of things down for us. So I'm looking forward of getting back out there and rimming that back up. Also, I have Black women in home care. That's my baby. That's my baby. And that was created because what I found out during the pandemic, and I had created it beforehand because I really wanted to bring awareness to the women who do this work and how they're not recognized and how they're not paid and how they get, they were unknown. The workforce was there, but they were so unknown and they were deemed babysitters. So I'm like, no, we ain't babysitters. Right. So I had to, create something to bring awareness. But what really fired me up and pushed me even further now was because when the pandemic hit, a lot of the home care workers were calling me and saying, hey, I'm working under these conditions. I've contracted COVID. I took it home to my family, but they couldn't get the people that they were working for the state and these owners of these nursing homes and adult homes to pay them and allow them to time off. So it was a lot of stories. So what I called the state of Michigan to talk to the ombudsman, and what she told me was horrifying. She said to me that there's nothing on the book for home care workers. There's nothing in place for the people who do that work. She said the only thing you can do is keep advocating like you do. Bring awareness to what you're doing and keep, and rally around your workers and y'all work together and bring about a policy. That was all she needed to tell me. Because I was going to do that anyway. But when it happened, when it was confirmed that you're in the right direction, it sparked me to create Black women in home care. And so right now we are connected with, I have so far about 50 women in the group, a little over 50 women. But I'm looking to increase that because as I push toward the awareness of the women who do this work, it's policy that needs to be put in place for the women who do this work. And so all these things I do, Nicole, is not for me. I'm not a camera hog. I'm just an information.
The majority of it never is, right? I mean, because we live in the community, if our community is better, then our quality of life is better as well. That's right. But you don't do this kind of work just for yourself. And that's why I wanted to bring you on today. Let me explain something for the people who have never really been entrenched in organizing, but maybe you support us and you want to figure out how to get involved. Listen, it is not it's not pretty. Nope. All right. There's nothing pretty about it. It's a lot of grit and work that goes along with this. And so often the people that you are fighting for are often the people that you have to fight first to get to the people who are, really the problem. And that can be so frustrating as well. Right. Then you have the part where this isn't a high paid job. We do so much of this work on a volunteer basis. You know what I mean? Because the majority of the people who getting paid a lot of money to do this, they have already sold out. I can't think of one person who's getting a lot of money for organizing, getting all of these grant dollars or anything. That's an individual that's staying the course, right? That's when you start to see them to bend and to waver, and then by the time they way over here, you know what I mean, on the other side. And that's what we see happen so often. But to be consistent and to say no, I'm going to continue to demand equity. And sometimes you have to address the people who have been have been shined in a light that is, oh, they're so good and they really for the people. And sometimes you have to expose them. And that is just the truth of it, and it's disappointing to us. I think that that's what people should understand, Henrietta, and the work that we do when we too support some of these people, and then we find out, you know what, they not even worth a tenth of the recognition and the accolades that they have received, because it's all about themselves. Now, I don't have no problem with nobody getting paid. Okay, that's not my issue. That's not my issue. My issue is that when you forget, you know what I mean, those who helped you to get there, because so often they use the support from us to get name recognition and popularity, and then they want to sell out, and then they want to start trying to convince you of what you see is not what you see, right?
Yeah.
And so then I go back to people like you about, being so, I would assume, this is just me, I would assume there has to be times like being a mother of four, having grandchildren, out here trying to make it, and you see other people who are, heavily rewarded, and compensated and paid, to know, like, how do you continue to stay in this fight when you know that that's not your story?
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head, because that is a lot of what I've seen moving about in this position. And people, again, wanting to use name recognition or bring me on board. I can't even tell you how many things I've turned down based upon the fact I didn't like what I found out, right? You can't put me in front of a camera to lie about something I know is not true. I'm not going to be involved in anything that I know that eventually is going to hurt the community and it's going to fall back on me. I just refuse to let money be the driving force for doing what I do. I have to work every day. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with working for my dollars, but I'm not going to be cool with selling out ever. So I'm going to make it clear to let it be known on the Nicole Small show into the world. You will never get Henrietta Ivy to sell out. I am not bought by anybody. So if I say something, once I've done my research and I did my, I got all the information I need that's validated, it's on and popping. And let me be clear, there are some things I'm going to talk about coming up. And I tell you, I have to talk about it because I have researched and I have found out some things that, when people think you don't know, and they think that you're going to be quiet about it. See, I'm the person that when I talk, when I'm ready to talk, when I come out to talk, because it's time to say something. It's always time to say something. There's never a time you shouldn't. Let me be clear. But when Henrietta talk, you better understand she got her facts sitting right there in front of her. So I'm going to ask that question, and I'm going to sit there, and I'm going to be real polite and professional. Because if you lie to me, then I'm going to call you out. And that's something that we need to continue to do. I love how you and the upcoming leaders do what y'all do. I just sit back like, man, they just, I wish they could have came up in my time. Man, we've been so much stuff done. Because we had a lot of people.
The importance of us trying to bridge that generational gap, like bring those in who are in their 20s, you know what I mean? But still get the wisdom from the people who are who are in their 70s and their 80s, like and all of those in between. Like, how do we bridge that gap? And that's why I love what you were saying about, you encourage the millennials, I do too. Because, for me, millennials mean you 33 and under. I don't care what they say. So they like that batch of young people. And so, you want to bring them in, but you want to make sure that, listen, sometimes if I say that this isn't for you, it doesn't mean that we don't have a plan for you in mind. It's just that we see that right now you won't be able to advance and win this, you know what I mean, at this particular point, because number one, the work has not been, the foundation has not been laid. I do believe in young people being elected into office. I have tried, and I still do try to encourage several of them, you know what I mean? Like, go after this, pursue this interest, you know what I mean? But it's a way to do everything. But that's another thing that I love about you. Like, no matter what you've experienced, you're still trying to encourage someone else. And I think that is so important. But I want to talk to you about that frustration that we so often experience, right? Like taking those L's, right? I feel like I'm so invested when I support a campaign You know, when the candidate, the person on the ballot don't have to lose, I'm going to be upset because not because that person lost, but because I feel like the people lost. They lost an opportunity to have real good leadership. And that's important for me. And, you know, here in the city of Detroit, I mean, sis, really look at what we have just for our local leadership, right? For our city council, for our mayor. Before we even get to this transformation of state politics, like these faces that we're seeing at the state level, who are these people? Like, where did you come from?
Like, who raised you?
Like, you coming from Ann Arbor, really? You run one time and you win?
And
when
you
we
win.
have people in Detroit who have ran several times and they can't even win, like, psychologically, something is going on with our people. How is this happening? How are we allowing for a Gabe Leland? Like, let's just talk about that. How are we allowing for a Gabe Leland to sit in office and to put out a letter? All right, you know the work that me and you do in this community, right? We allow for a Gabe Leland to put out a letter to talk about how proud he is of the work that he's done. Like, you stepping down because you committed a crime while you were in office. How does that be acceptable in our community? But people like you and I are fighting all the time to share information, like to make sure that our people understand, like, listen, this is what you deserve. These are your rights. These are the facts. This is the real problem. I know you know something is wrong, but you haven't been able to pinpoint it. So let me tell you what the real issue is.
Exactly. You know what I think it is?
How do we get beyond that? Do we have any more to sacrifice of ourselves?
You know, other than cut off our hands and feet and toes, let's that's Gabe Leland is a topic that I had a conversation with Sunday when I was out canvassing.
Yeah.
And everybody in my area, which is the O'Hare community area, in my block radius, I didn't even know they were talking and letting people know that I was here, and I did what I did. They told me themselves, like, I told this neighbor about you, and I'm like, really? Thank you. So it was very heartfelt to know that people see that what I'm doing is not for play. It's for real. I want to see better communities. But one of the neighbors brought up the Gabe Leland situation, and I don't have words. I don't have I don't know what to say about that. I don't know how to address that other than to say poor leadership. Gabe Leland when he got indicted, he should have been gone then. To have someone sit on a council smugly and know that you've been indicted, know you've committed a crime, and you're still getting a paycheck. Let's take it to Mike Duggan. You're the mayor. You're the head of that board. So why didn't you just say, what?
No, more importantly, none of his privileges were suspended, right?
None of them.
So, like,
none of them.
They couldn't just remove him because of the charter. I'll give them that. Right.
Okay.
So, but none of his privileges were suspended, but he wrote a full-page letter talking about all these great things he did, but you lack integrity because you're on audio. You still stayed there for years. You understand what I'm saying? Taking advantage of the people of District 7. But what I'm saying to you is right now we're in election year.
Yes.
Okay. This is the work that you and I do. It takes a lot from our personal life. You know what I mean? It's just like everything for your personal life is in this real small box. You know what I mean? And then when we get out here and we tell the people, I cannot process how people in District 7 has a person staying in office and he's on audio saying that he should have asked for more for a bribe, and then he's allowed to write a full-page letter and people don't go tear it apart. Whatever, but he should have been removed by the people. So what I'm saying to you is now we're facing a 2021 election. If we're not careful, Henrietta, we are going to have a Gabe Leland repeat in that seat, right? In that seat, and in some of the other seats. Like, are we really ready to take advantage of some of the momentum and that we have built from 2020? Like, are we able to transfer that over to make it benefit our own community? We just did something for the entire country when we had record-breaking numbers for the election. But I want you to take a minute and think about what kind of efforts we're going to have to put forth this year to get folks to come out and vote, to vote in their own best interest. Like, just process that. We know that it's a low voter turnout for the election year. And it's not that many of us who are that dedicated to making sure that we share the real information with them about these candidates who are running. But if we couldn't get Gabe Leland out of there beforehand, does that compromise our chances of really having real change this year?
I will say to the question that you asked, how do we get something, get people out to vote? How do we get this low turner vote out in this local election like we did in the presidential? Mm-hmm. And what I found that worked is engagement, strong engagement. There is, you can't move anything if people don't know. We worked hard. We talked to people consistently. We hit the pavement. We banged. Okay. We're going to have to do that same method we did with the presidential election in this general election. And that's truth. There's no other way around it. There's no other way to do it but the way we did it then. We got to make the community aware of these people. Even if they know, people knew what Trump was about. You know, they knew all this. And we tried to get him out of office with impeachment. That didn't work. But when the presidential election came about, we hit it hard. We're going to have to hit it hard just like that in the local election. We're going to have to strongly engage, make phone calls, knock on doors, get out. The weather is getting good. Get on foot. I found getting out here, talking to the community, I got a lot of good engagement. People still want that face-to-face. So,
but let's talk about it, though. What happened last year was a collective effort from so many different organizations. Like, let's just keep it real. Yes. We had organizations, when you go to somebody's door, 3 other people had already dropped the same piece of literature, just with a different organization's name on it. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see that many people investing into our election like they did into the national election. So now I come back to you, sis, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. With all of the sacrifices that you have made in the past, you know, myself, so many others, you know what I mean, who do this work. Like, how are we going to increase voter turnout? Do we have it in us? Like, when we really think about the sacrifice that's going to have to be made this year, do we have it in us? And do we have enough people that we have engaged and educated on about how we're going to need our help? Like, for me, this year, and to all of you who are listening, we need y'all to at least commit to, like, those who are mobile, we need you to at least commit to 10 blocks. Like 10 of your blocks, educating those people, going back. We need you to make sure that you, and we're going to have a conversation and an organizing training about this. And Henrietta, I want you to be a part of it. Okay. But we need y'all to commit to that. Like, what we're saying is, like, we cannot continue to do this in such a small group and cover this entire city.
That's right.
We have to touch people across this city. You know, the mayor is already raising money against the charter. He has millions of dollars already in his war chest. You better believe they're going to come out swinging. He's going to come out swinging for his own election. He's going to come out swinging for the people that he want to see sitting on council. That's the way it is. I'm telling you today, March 9th, 2021. I am telling you, that is what is going to happen. The only way we can defeat those dollars with some money, not as much money, is if we have you working with us. We know some of y'all not going to get out there 90 days straight. Okay. That's just not realistic. All right. When some of us already been out there, like you said, I've already been out there because the weather is breaking. But we need some of y'all to commit. Can you at least give us 10 blocks? And then bring a partner who could commit to another 10. Maybe y'all can do 20 blocks over the summer. That's what we need. We need your help. And that's what I'm saying to you. Like, the sacrifices that you have made, Henrietta, from your family, from yourself, like, for you to still stay so positive and to say, you know what, I love myself. I know that I'm worth it. We don't have a lot of that so much anymore in our community. And we need to get back to that. We have brothers, young brothers, brothers of all age demographics. Some have done this a long time ago, for a long time, and now they feel like, you know what, I appreciate your passion, sis, and what y'all doing, but these people not gonna change. So their spirit is broken, right? And then you have some brothers who feel like, well, y'all sisters, y'all doing the thing. I support you. And that's it.
Yep.
Then you have some saying that, well, it's just all about the women or whatever. I want to be clear. Like, I love my Black men, right?
Amen.
I love my
Yes.
brothers. I do.
Yes.
And look, I have supported them, you personally and publicly, professionally, because it's not a brother who can win anything without a sister. All right. It's always
right.
us who
right.
doing the volunteer coordinating, who organizing the people, who diligent on the campaigns or whatever it is that they want. But I say that to say, look, sometimes we need y'all to come out and to support us. I loved the number of Black men that we had to come out yesterday. And the reason why I'm speaking specifically to Black men is because I don't care what nobody else say. Like, we're going to get it done anyway, but it would be nice to have y'all standing with us. That was a great look yesterday. It was. Have so many Black men to come out. And the reason why I'm speaking to Black men again is because I said just the other day to somebody, I said, if these brothers don't step up and start coming out here, I said, then they're going to be mad when we have all these young white kids, these young white men, because they'll come out. Yeah. They will come out. They'll walk with us. You know what I mean? They'll stand with us. And they need to think about the optics of it. And I'm not knocking the young white men who come out, because some of them will be diligent in their effort. Listen, they'll get that paperwork done for you. You know what I mean? They'll help you however they can. They want to be a part of something. Yep. But when we think about the optics of it all, it's not to push them away. I'm just saying, I don't want y'all to turn around, brothers, and y'all outnumbered. And this is all that we have standing with us. It needs to be a collective effort. And I think that you would agree that we need them to step up. We need, they look at us as angry Black women, especially me, or either, they tell me, I appreciate your passion. I know that's a nice way of saying it. That's okay. See, they don't understand it. That don't bother me. Because I am angry. And I had to tell somebody else that a brother was like, well, Nicole, sometimes you come off angry. I said, and why don't you? Why don't you come off angry and they done shut off our people water? Why don't you come off angry knowing that they done stole Black businesses? I'm not talking about people couldn't pay their rent. I'm talking about they stole Black businesses. Exactly. Why don't you come off angry knowing that it's been a concerted effort to displace our people out of their homes by overtaxing them, and you took their homes when you owed them? I said, why aren't you angry about that? Because them your mothers and your aunties and your grandmas and your sisters who's sitting in them homes who are being impacted, and they even your fellow brothers who are being impacted. And I don't understand that. We so worried about how somebody delivers something as opposed to saying, are they really speaking to my best interest? That's right. And that's the biggest problem that I think that we're going to have this year in this election. They want to fight a war quietly. They want you to be nice about it.
You can't do that. And you hit the nail on the head. Black men have a tendency of thinking when Black women step up to save the community, we're angry. We're not angry. We're definitely not angry with you. We definitely need your support.
We're angry at the system.
We're angry at the system along with our Black men. We see what they have done to you. And we want, and it's like anything else, we talk about African proverbs, and you see how the women in those tribes carried those men, and those men were successful at beating the war on invasion, because those women stood. We're the same way today. That DNA in us allows us to stand in our communities, just like we're standing in those villages. These are our villages, and our Black men got to come up with that strength and support us, because we're supporting you. We're not dogging you and saying that you're not worthy. We're not saying you can't stand with us. We're asking you to stand with us, but don't get so beat down by the system and think because when we stand up, we're beating you down too. We're not. We're trying to show you, look, together we can make this happen. So, in fighting these fights, it is frustrating. It's frustrating. It's heartbreaking. It's soul breaking sometimes. Yes. I tell people all the time, I have sat in this house and cried for just thinking about all the stuff that's going on. I just bust out and cry because it hurts to really think that, damn, we really here? We really in this environment? I look around the community and say, wow, I'm driving through communities I grew up with. It looked like Saigon. How did that happen? How did that happen? I know how it happened, but I'm like, where's our people? Where are we in this? Are we really going to lay down and go back to plantation mentality and allow outsiders to come in and tear us down when we work so hard. Our families, our uncles, our forefathers and mothers, grandmothers, uncles, I worked their behinds off to have the communities that I grew up in. And then to go back through those communities and see that they look like gentrified down to the bone. It is hurtful. It's like, what am I working for? What am I advocating for? What am I doing? Not just in the home care, but in the community, period. It is frustrating. It's soul breaking. But you don't stop because God put it in us to do so. When I get up in the morning, okay, Lord, I don't want to do this no more. Well, you're going to do it. When I try to walk away from it, God to take me by my head and turn me right back on the path. So when I tell people, when I tell the young Black men, when they ask me, when I'm talking to them, and they say, well, they ain't gonna let, I'm like, yeah, young brother, you what you mean they ain't gonna let? You determine your path. If you want to see the community change, then you change it. You don't need permission to change. None of us need permission to make change. All we have to do is do it. Do it with the intent to make change happen. Not to get on TV, not to have someone give you a medal, not for someone to give you a accolade or a pat on the shoulder. Do it even when those things don't exist. You do it. So that you're right, it's frustrating and it's heartbreaking, but you keep pushing, you keep going, you keep advocating, and you keep teaching until it's done. You just keep going, you keep running the race until it's done. It's like a person who runs track. When you see runners running, they don't stop because because somebody didn't cheer them. They keep running till they get to the finish.
They keep running the race until they finish the race. And that's what's so important. And I see we got a brother on here commenting. Listen here, Larry, what do you mean we can't have it both ways? Nobody is putting you down. What we're saying is the work that we do is that we uplift Black men. And nobody's trying to tell you how to be a man. That has nothing to do with the conversation that we have said today. And I don't know where that's coming from. And that's a part of the problem. We specifically said that we need Black men to come and stand with us. I don't know how you got out of that we trying to tell you how to be a man, or that we trying to put Black men down. Now, we just opened up an invite and said that we wanted y'all to come and stand with us. And that's a part of the frustration that I have too. Like, how do you get that out of what we just said? You know what I mean? We're saying that we want you to stand with us, period.
Exactly.
And so you turn it around to something else that doesn't even make sense. And so we're trying to build bridges around here. So whoever has made you feel that way, that's not what we're saying at all on this show here. We're saying that we need some more brothers to come out consistently.
Exactly.
Not the same ones that we have. We need you to join in the fight.
Exactly.
Because they look at that. You know what I mean? The opposition looks at that. When they see it's majority women, they play on that. When they see that we don't have a lot of Black men standing out there with us. And they take advantage of that. And so, which means they take advantage of our Black brothers.
You see, Nicole, it's that kind of conversation right then. I'm sorry to interrupt because that just really ticked me off. Like, this caller, let me explain something to you. Like Nicole said, I'm going to back her up 100%. We never down to you brothers. What we are saying is we need you to be the backbone for us. We can't always be the backbone for y'all, and y'all sitting there like little boys thinking that, when we get up there and we're fighting for y'all, we're trying to be men. We're not trying to be a man. We're trying to save our communities. So when you start having that kind of mentality, that type of mentality spoils the mentality of other Black men, young and older, with that hatred of Black women fighting. Don't do that. Don't tell us we're trying to tell you not to trying to stop you from being a man. We're asking you to be a man. We're asking you not to, just because you're not a man, we're asking you to take your masculinity and come out there and fight with us so we can win this war on our communities being shut down. So if you're going to think like that, I'm going to pray for you. And I'm going to pray for every Black man who have that insecurity, because myself, Nicole, and all these other Black women out here fighting, we're not trying to take your spot. We're trying to save our communities, and we would love, let me repeat it loud and clear. We want you out here with us fighting. We're not fighting against you. We're fighting against the system, and we need you to help fight
for you. Right? What about that part? Like, we're fighting for them. Anytime one of our brothers are mistreated, killed in the streets, or somehow they being accused of something that they didn't do, anything like that, it's always a group of us out there. It's
Always.
always a group of us Black women out there saying, we not gonna allow this. That we the
That's right.
first to step up every time.
Every
Every
time.
time we the first to organize an effort around it. And so
Mhm.
all that we're saying is that when we fight for our community, we're fighting for you too. So come and stand with us. You know,
Exactly.
it disgusts me how many Black men stand behind Mike Duggan,
Oh,
knowing that he cutting
horrifying.
off water to Black elders, women, and children. You know, he has so many Black men sold up, and he's doing a great job of getting
Great
these
job at
sisters
it.
too. And these sisters is carrying the water after 5 o'clock. It's one thing
Yep.
to go and make your paycheck. It's another thing for you to try to sell me that poison water after 5. And I have a problem with it.
I
But
stand
you
with
had
you
these
on that.
Black men. Let me tell you something. They won't even allow on a community relations page to share my show anymore for District
Wow.
2. For District
Really?
2.
That's
Now,
see, that's heartbreaking. Like,
see
why?
what
Why
I'm
wouldn't you
saying?
want
So
to?
that and these are Black brothers who doing that. And Rufus Bartell and blocked all of my posts about what we were saying about Black Bottom. So, and then you got Ken Scott don't want to share my show, you know, with claims that, well, she gonna be running for office. What my show got to do with anything? So then
Exactly.
you shouldn't share nobody else's. This is an educational forum. But this is what I'm talking about. This is what we get from Black men. It's because we talking about Duggan is the problem. It's because we're talking about the injustices from our local government, even from city council. And so you too weak to stand strong and say, hey, this is the truth that needs to be told.
That's part. It's the trinkets. Let me tell you, Nicole, when you take and you have stripped, and I'm not saying all Black men, but when you have these particular Black men who are coming and barking at you or me or any Black woman who's trying to simply give information, they have been bought. The trinkets. Yeah. It's that I want my trinkets. So what do I need to do, boss, to get my trinkets? And that's their mentality. So they're going to come up against the U's, the I's, and all the other sisters out here fighting for this community. Unfortunately, that's just the truth. And don't give them no power when they're weak-minded, because it's over after that. It's over. It's over after that. You give a weak-minded Black man any power, he will never stand with you. He's not going to stand with the Black community. He's going to think he's the boss's best pick, and he's going to stand with the boss. And I'm saying that to any Black man who has this mentality, thinking that I got to get my money. You can get your money, but you don't sell your people out.
And
you don't stand against the Black woman.
Your sisters out.
No, you don't sell your sisters out.
For Black men to sell sisters out who out here fighting for justice for our entire
but they will
community.
because their ego was hurt. They have a hurt ego. When their ego was hurt, they don't want you have those ones who think that we're supposed to be in the kitchen, in the bedroom. That's it. And I'm going to put it out there just like that. And so when you got those kind of Black men in power, they're not looking at you as a help. They're looking at you as a hindrance, and they will destroy you. They will destroy us. And then in the end, when they realize that all that they tried to do to protect Massa wasn't about protecting you. He used you. And now it's too late to get anything back, because now you done tore us down. You done tore the communities down. You destroyed a Black woman's image, trying to help bring up her village. And so now you're the problem. And so anytime a brother get on here and want to try to say, you can't tell me how to be a man, we know that. We ain't trying to tell you how to be a man. We ask you to be a man and stand up.
We're not trying to raise no grown men anyway.
Exactly.
Do that in my personal life. I'm sure enough not about to try to do it out here in the community. We respect you. But when you act like a man, we respect you as a man. I know I do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
I highlight these men for being strong, the ones who want to stand up and who want to use their doggone voice, you know what I mean, for the betterment of people. Now, when you a coward, you a coward. That's something that happened long before I even met you.
That's right. And that's just what it is. When you call a coward a coward. So Black men, don't get upset because you know you're not doing your job and we out here doing it for you plus some. Don't get mad at us. Don't get mad at the women out here working hard to bring about change. You want to scream, don't tell me how to be a man. You shouldn't even open up your mouth. Just stay in your little corner and soak on your own self-pity. We don't want to hear that. We don't have time to hear that. We don't need that kind of conversation going when we're trying to fight for change. We don't need to hear you trying to bring us down.
We need you to be with us. We're not telling you to stand to the side or anything. We ask you to stand with us.
That's it.
And I think that for two strong Black women who are heavily invested in this work, to be able to say that, because what we could say is, well, we've been doing it all by ourselves, so we don't need you. That's not what we're saying. We're telling you, we want you to come and stand with us. And it's not that we want to overshadow you, but the facts are the facts. If we're all that they see, or we're the majority of what they see, that's what people are going to think. They're going to think that this is just women's work. But no, what we're saying is that it's our work, you know, as a community. Let's take a caller, Henrietta.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to the Nicole Small Show.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Doing well. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm good. I'm listening to y'all conversation talking about Black men, and it's really funny that you guys mentioned that, because I was having this conversation with my sons. I'm a mother of 6 sons. You know what I'm saying? So that's 6 grown African-American men. The one thing that I stress to anyone, that respect level has to be there. Sometimes, and for a woman, you know, some people don't care. Some people like, no, that's not what. Sometimes it's not what we say, it's how we say it. And understand it's not that we should be catering to them on that level where this, you see this just like I do. But what happens is we're so strong that they feel that we're going to overshadow them instead of looking at us being strong together. That's a problem within our communities, because us being, whether you were single because by choice or something happened to the, you know, their father or your significant other, we had to be strong in certain things. When they left for fight for us, we had to be strong. So that backing of a woman being strong shouldn't be a threat. And sometimes we can come off as threats to people. You understand what I'm saying? If we come off as a threat, you know, Rufus and everybody else know the things that you're speaking on are facts. If it wasn't fact, then why you didn't come to the sister and say, you know, I'm not going to share your stuff because you're lying? That was never said to you.
Nope.
Because the things that you're speaking on are facts. Now, it's up to all of us to come together with these facts and look at reality. That's the problem. Everybody want to pick and choose what they look at, but the facts to remain, the things that you guys are both speaking on, that you advocate for every day, are facts. It's not a lie. It's not something that we created. These are facts that need to be changed. We can't keep going on like this because you mad because they figure, oh, she loud, she talking, but what she talking about, she right. Let's look at the facts. If you was wrong, it'd be one thing, but you're not wrong. And that's a problem. You know, the facts remain facts. If Duggan had did, or anybody, I'm not just going to say Duggan, anybody from any elected office has done something and not in the betterment of the people, those are facts. Understand, you have to negotiate. Not compromise and negotiate. It's 2 different things. We have to learn to negotiate with each other and work together collectively. Another problem is we all over the place because nobody want to stay in a lane.
That's true. Now that's true.
Nobody wants to stay in their lane, so we're doing more arguing than helping each other.
Yeah.
And in Detroit, we got an ego problem, period. I don't care if you're male or female. We have an ego problem with community work, and that's a problem for me.
Yeah, and it gets in the way. And it does
get
in
the way of the real cause. If you're not, everybody is not made to be a politician. Everybody is not made to be a community organizer. Everybody is not made to be an advocate. Because when you start advocating and it turns into a fighting match of advocating for somebody to have clean water, that's a problem. That's a problem. So for me, like we talk about Black men and stuff, we need to learn how to respect and work together collectively first. If somebody's speaking on facts, why should it even be an argument?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
We arguing among each other for right and wrong, and it's factual stuff that's here, and everybody see it. How can you tell me, oh, they coming out with a $2.5 million Motor City Match program, but this same program is under federal investigation?
Yep.
Make sense of this. You know, I tell people all the time, I don't care who you vote for. My things, I'm going on facts. Did you complete the work that you started? What was the outcome? These council people ain't completed their work because we still don't know the Motor City Match money.
No,
That's government
Exactly.
money. At the end of the day, we're supposed to help people here.
thank you.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
that's the problem. We're not, I get so frustrated that people think that we're going back and forth arguing about something. Who wants to continuously argue? Just like who wants to continuously be poor?
yeah,
You keep this poor mentality instead of raising it to the next level of succeeding and winning and building.
Mm-hmm.
We don't take our mindsets past that because we're too busy worrying about being poor.
yeah,
Yep.
And that's the problem.
yeah,
So now you're not grassroots because you don't think poor. What are you talking about?
yeah,
Yeah.
And that's what anybody is like, man, you know what you come out of. Now you get a certain level and you forget, oh no, I understand you didn't want to be like that, but there's somebody else you could bring up with you.
oh no, they don't want to do that.
See,
They don't want to do that.
Nope.
Don't nobody want to pass the torch.
Because you know what happens? Half the time when we get to the table, instead of having our arm extended back, we got our arms folded because we're not gonna help nobody.
Yep.
Period. We're not gonna help nobody.
And that's the problem. You know,
Yep.
people say TJT all the time. What can we do? It starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I tell my sons all the time, I can't tell you how to be a man. I will never tell them, but I know I told them respect
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
becoming a man.
Right.
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 You understand what I'm saying? If your kid
Yep.
don't have respect, male or female, you don't have respect, male or female. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Nobody
Right.
respects you.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you gotta respect yourself first. So I think if more men respected themselves and more women respected themselves
Mm-hmm.
and their ability to grow, we could get
Mhm.
somewhere. With this same old mindset, we'll get no progressive up in here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And progressive means thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And solution. You have to have you have to be solution oriented. You know what I mean? When we talk
Mhm.
about progressive, where are the solutions? You can talk about the problem, you can yell about it, but what are the solutions? Like most of the time when we're addressing an issue, we won't even come up with a demand. And that's another reason, like when you talk about them asking for more Motor City Match money, that's why I said earlier, like this is almost comical. Like this man has shown you what he is going to do again, what he has done with money for the exact same issue, and you gonna turn around and consider giving him some more money when you gonna reward him for bad behavior. Period.
That
That's
shouldn't
it.
even been discussed until all the debriefing of the last year budget's been calculated and went through
That's
and see
right.
what was right and what was
That's
wrong.
right.
That's right.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Where are the amendments?
Mhm.
No, where are the amendments to his budget proposal that
Exactly.
shows how those dollars, where
Being
those
spent.
dollars were
Dollars
spent?
went.
You have
Mhm.
a CFO, so why hasn't anybody put together? And see, these are the things that we don't even demand of them. But I guarantee you, if it was a black person, especially a black sister in there, you know what I mean? We would have all kind of demand. We wouldn't be able to get from A to A and a half. You know what I mean? Without them saying, you didn't finish this. We want to see it.
Exactly.
Accountability, but you.
That's
My
right.
thing is, okay, you say all these programs are good. I know a couple of people who've got businesses and they're thriving, but let me see how many applicants you had. See what happened. See how they fell off.
Mhm.
Now you know all the people falling off. Oh, we fell off because of the pandemic. Some of them was falling off long before the pandemic.
That's right. That's right.
Get back
Yep.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? This pandemic helped a lot of people get up.
Mm-hmm.
Same token, what have you done before we did have a pandemic, where money was misappropriated to the point the federal government is investigating your books, but the people that you actually here representing can't investigate your books?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
How is Janae Ayers over a budget committee and you talking about a new budget when you ain't talked about the old budget?
And she hasn't asked not one time for the mayor to present any documentation, checks and balances about how he done spent any of this money. Not one time. And you over budget and finance. Neither has Spivey, who sits on that committee. I don't know about Sheffield, but I don't think so either. But Janae is the chair. Not one time do you even ask. And you have enough nerve to sit up there and you want to talk about, I think that this is a phenomenal report from Deputy CFO Stoudemire about the $3.4 billion that the charter is going to cost us. How? You don't even have any supporting any documentation.
Well, if you want to talk about that, you already know where I was involved in that process.
You know, this is crazy.
You know how I feel about it. My thing is nobody collectively worked together for anything to happen because they didn't see any people from the city to even show what was going on with the budgets.
Nope. Nope.
That's first and foremost. So for you to talk about what happened and you guys couldn't collectively work together to get this done is problematic.
Very problematic.
Being engaged in a process.
Yep. That's true.
And see, these are the facts that we're trying to get the community to understand.
What you say, Henrietta? What you say, Henrietta?
I was agreeing with the caller saying this is the reason why we can't get the community to come together, because we have too many problematic issues, and we have people sitting in this leadership help killing us. And to have to be able to try to approve more money when you can't account for the money that was already sent and the citizens didn't benefit from it, that's very problematic. So that's when I tell people when you're voting, think about what's being told to you. So you won't keep voting these same people in these positions to kill us, period. Yeah. And that's just the bottom line. When you're talking about what's the bottom line, stop revoting them in. That's it. Right. Just stop revoting them in.
Well, my thing is, I've always asked, even with school budgets, because that's my lane, I want to see the amendments. The amendments are never posted to these budgets accordingly.
Never.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Never.
What we see on paper today in this budget, 4 months later, money has been moved. Nobody came back to the community to make it a big budget process because these things are allocated, brushed through city council, changed, and money is reallocated. So what we think that are in budget, sometimes they're not there because they have reallocated those funds somewhere else. That's a problem. You know, if somebody's running for a seat, I tell people all the time, if you can't tell me what's going on in the community which you live in, don't come to me talking about an office. Period. You have to understand the demographics. We have to understand the demographics of where we stay at.
No, we know we need to understand the state of our own city. How about that?
Yep.
I tell people all the time, just put the facts out there, take the names off and put the facts out there, and then we can decide what's going on. Show me what you've accomplished, show me what you've misappropriated, show me what is on hold. Let's see the dollars. So if I'm looking at Motor City Match from 4 years ago to now, misappropriation, red check mark.
Yeah, but they never want to, but that information needs to be shared in a manner where it's digestible for so many of our people. And I just don't expect people, the majority of Detroiters, to even delve deep to be able to go and to look into this. But Tia, it's almost, we only have 6 more minutes on the show, but thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day and keep the fight up.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, Henrietta, I appreciate you. I thank you for all of the work and again, your diligent efforts in staying in these many fights that we have. I wanted to just recognize you today. I know that we will be hard this year to bring.
I lost your sound, Nicole. You went out.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay, yeah, we have the mayor's race, we have city council, we have PACs, city clerk. So we have a lot on the table, but hopefully we could get the message out. I appreciate you and your sacrifices that you have made, that you're willing to stay into the fight. I know that it gets hard. Trust me, I understand that firsthand. I think we all do. And hopefully let's see this year if we could bring more people, to the table so we could work together, for a win. Tell people how they could get in touch with you and maybe participate in Dove.
So I can be reached. I'm an advocate Facebook media. I use Facebook as my networking platform. You can find me on Henrietta Ivy on Facebook. You can actually find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And if you want to contact me, my business line is 248-686-1144. And if you just want to send me an email, it's henriettaivy975@gmail.com. If you just have questions or comments or want to find out how to get involved with Black Women in Home Care, also go to your group page on Facebook and join the group Black Women in Home Care Global. And let's just have a conversation about leadership and how we as women and men can make change in our community.
All right. Thank you. And thank you
welcome.
to all of you who joined us today for this conversation. Don't forget today at, I don't know, I think it's 6 p.m., but there will be the state of the city. We will be back here Monday. We will review the state of the city, what we think, what we got out of it, and then we'll tell you the truth. We'll tell you what we were told, and we're going to tell you the truth. And then we'll also start talking about, no, you know what, Monday, we're going to have a special guest too, Maliki Kenny. He's going to be on here talking about the co-op, the food co-op that they have over there, and also what's coming up for the farm this year. But we're still going to talk about the budget. So we'll be back here Monday at 8 o'clock on the Nicole Small Show. Have a great rest of the week and be safe. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I don't know how to end this.